Welcome to this week's Crowd Church service. We are a digital church on a quest to discover how Jesus helps us live a more meaningful life. We are a community, a space to explore the Christian faith, and a place where you can contribute and grow. Our service will last about an hour, and in a few seconds you'll meet our hosts for our service who will introduce today's talk. After the talk, we will have a time of worship and reflection, after which we head into Conversation Street, where we look at your stories and questions that you've posted in the comments. Now, we want to invite you to connect with us here at Crowd Church, and we've got a few ways in which you can do just that. Firstly, you can engage with Crowd from any device during our live stream, and if you're up for it, why not invite a few friends over and experience the service together? You see, church is all about connecting with God and connecting with others. And one of the easiest ways for you to do that is join one of our midweek groups where we meet online together to catch up and discover more about the amazingness of Christ. You can also subscribe to our fairly new podcast called What's the Story, where we deep dive into stories of faith and courage from everyday people. More information about all of these things can be found on our website at www.crowd.church, or you can reach out to us on social media at Crowd Church. If you are new to Crowd or new to the Christian faith and would like to know what your next steps to take are, well, why not head over to our website, crowd.church/next, for more details. And now, the moment you've been waiting for is here. Our online church service starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Crowd Church. My name is Matt. Beside me is the beautiful Claire Glare, who is, can you see it on camera just about? Show.
Brought me knitting. And just so you know, I've got a hot Ribena in here. I am bringing the chilled, relaxed vibe.
You so totally are bringing the chilled, relaxed vibe. We were getting drinks earlier. I said to Claire, do you want a drink? She went, oh no. Or maybe a hot water.
That's
and then you saw
really
the
dull.
Ribena. It is a bit dull.
Yeah.
And then you saw the Ribena and you thought, I'm in there.
Yeah.
And then you got your knitting
happy
out.
days. And then, just to completely flummox anything. And then I was like, oh, I'm matching with my knitting. There we go. We'll see if I get any more knitting done. I've got my notepad and pen as well. So
you can take some spiritual notes whilst you're knitting.
Indeed. And learn, live and learn. We are here to learn.
We so totally are. A very, very warm welcome to you. Doesn't matter if you don't have knitting. You can still join us. I don't have knitting. Hey, Miriam. Hey, Andy. It's good to see you. Do say hi in the comments if you're watching us.
We can see them there as well now. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I love that. Great.
See, tech is getting better, isn't it?
So good.
It's
so
getting
good.
better. So
yeah, the carpet's nice in here as well. Random.
Just a random. We have very plush carpet because we like the soundproofing. Is the right answer.
And I quite fancied nicking a bit. Take it home to our house. Much more plush than my house.
Just going to steal the carpet from the Crowd Church studio. God won't mind. But yes, welcome to Crowd. We're an online church who, welcomes all people, whether you knit, whether you don't, whether you like plush carpet or naff carpet. Whatever your carpet is in your house.
You are welcome.
You're welcome here. Hey, Chris. Hey, Jenny. How you guys doing? Great to see you in the comments. Warm welcome to you. If this is your first time with us, very warm welcome to you. Crowd is an online church. We just love churchy stuff, don't we? Really, church. That's probably not the right thing to say, is it?
We love Jesus.
We do. Just pull your microphone towards your mouth a little bit. There you go.
See, I can't even work the microphone. That's why I come.
That's why we've got the knitting. We've got the knitting. Well, welcome to you. Great that you're here. We live stream from our studio with the plush carpet every Sunday evening, and we have a different set of hosts. Today you've got me and you've got Claire, and we've got who speaking today?
The lovely John Harding.
The Right Reverend John Harding is speaking today. And
Is he a Right Reverend? I don't know.
Idea.
Okay, all right. Okay. Sorry, John. We don't know.
I don't know what he's
a good egg.
Yeah. Can you wear a collar around your neck if you're a good egg?
I think you can wear a collar around your neck if. Well, don't we all have collars?
No, do you know what I mean? Like
A dog collar.
a right reverend
A
dog
white
collar.
collar.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Find out. We'll go and investigate. I mean, that light is really bright. I'm going to have to turn that down when we do the talk. Anyway, we've got John Harding tonight talking to us. We actually close out the series in Acts today,
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
which is a beautiful thing.
And I launched into song, been around the world and I finished Acts today. I don't know when, I don't know why.
I
Paul
totally
went
wondered where you were
away.
going with that. I'm
There
not
we
going to lie.
go.
With that song.
I'm
Write
sorry.
in the comments who did that song? Who was the artist?
I think it's Lisa Stansfield.
I think you're right.
I'm an 80s.
Yeah,
I'm an
I
80s
think you're
girl.
right. I
Yeah.
think it is Lisa Stansfield.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, been around the world.
Sure, other people are good singers as well. I think that was a one-hit wonder. So don't
Was
worry.
Lisa Stansfield a one-hit wonder?
Don't worry if you've never heard of her. That's okay.
Or if you've never actually heard of the 80s either.
If you weren't born, we'd recommend it as a decade of music.
Oh, totally. It was. I still maintain the 80s was probably the best decade.
In fact, my daughter, random, was singing Cyndi Lauper's "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" the other day, and then I started joining in, and she was like, "You know this song?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah."
I want you to know I am from the cool decade. Of course I know this song. Why would I not know this song? Yes, so 80s music aside, I totally lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. This is why I'm here.
That's why it's totally distract me. No, not at all. It's great. We love the banter. As you can tell from our light-hearted
Oh,
nature.
Miriam, we love you too.
Oh, yeah. Bless her. I love you both. Well, we love you.
Yeah.
And you make us laugh and feel comfortable as well. You're a legend. Thanks for joining us. And like I say, if you're just joining in, if you're just connecting with us, warm welcome to you. We are an online church. We just kind of do this. We're going to do the talk with the Right Reverend John Harding. And we're not entirely sure he's the Right Reverend, but we're going to do it with him. And then Claire and I are going to be back for Conversation Street, where we're going to look at some questions. We're going to carry on the conversation. We're going to just have a bit of a chat, aren't we?
We are.
About all kinds of things. And as you can tell, we're kind of chilled at the same time. We have a bit of fun. We love the banter.
We do. And I think we'll just, see what the Holy Spirit's got to say.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sure, I'm all ears.
Oh, look, Donna Joe.
Oh, Donna Joe.
DJ's in the comments.
Oh, I almost rang you today, actually, DJ, on WhatsApp.
Oh,
That
just
is a total
go-
aside of
Grab your cup of tea.
really,
You just have a
really
conversation
just
now.
miss you, my lovely DJ.
She's a legend,
Too
DJ.
long to not have a chat. We will do it soon.
Yeah, DJ. DJ, I'm going to be in North Carolina at some point. Just pointing that out. I think I'm going over, I think it's June. Don't know. Anyway, DJ's in North Carolina. She's an absolute legend. So talk about 80s, Top Gun mug. Highway to the Danger Zone, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of Highway to the Danger Zone.
We're not going to do the karaoke. There was all sorts of karaoke there. We're going. Sticking. Yeah, no.
Everybody's going, please don't sing Highway to the Danger Zone, man. What we are going to do, Highway to the Danger Zone, speaking of Top Gun, Maverick. Let's get into John Harding's talk. Then Claire, and did you like that segue? Then Claire and I will be right back after the talk for Conversation Street. Grab your notebooks, grab your pens, get busy in the comments. We'd love to hear your questions, your thoughts on what John's got to say. And we'll be back shortly after this. Here we go. He says.
Hi there, Crowd Church. Today we are in the final section of the book of Acts, the story of the birth of the earliest church and the expansion of Christianity across the known world. Today our reading is from Acts 28, verse 11 through to the very end of the book of Acts. Now, if you've been tracking with us in Crowd Church, you will know that the Apostle Paul, once appointed by the Jewish people to persecute the first Christians, well, he is now preaching Jesus and planting churches, and he has got himself into a lot of trouble for it. The Jewish people considered this message about Jesus the Messiah blasphemy. There could be no God except Yahweh. And the Romans, who occupied the whole region, well, they considered it treason. There could be no king except Caesar. But at the heart of this new faith, the way of Christianity, was the message that Jesus was both the one true God and the one true King. And so those who proclaimed this message, like Paul, often ended up persecuted, imprisoned, or killed. Now, when things got really bad for Paul, he used his leverage as a Roman citizen to demand his right for a trial, an audience with Caesar in Rome. And that's been the story so far. Paul, under arrest, accompanied by armed guards, is heading to Rome. We pick up the story that after 3 months shipwrecked on the island of Malta, they set sail over to Rome, where Paul is placed under house arrest. It's quite a relaxed arrangement, probably because he'd rescued the soldiers when the ship went down at sea. Now, Acts ends with uncertainty. We do not know how it ends for Paul. Was he released? Did he see out his days in prison in Rome? Did he get an audience with Caesar? What was the outcome of that? We don't really know, but our best guess is that after 2 years in prison, Paul was released and he went straight back to his work, planting churches in Macedonia. That's hinted at in 1 Timothy 1:3, and then in Spain, Romans 15:24 and 28, before being rearrested and then executed by Nero around 68 AD. That is the context. And I want to draw out 3 points for us today from the story. I want us to think about the primary question. Number 2, I want us to think about the primary conversation. And number 3, I want us to think about the primary context, the question, the conversation, the context. Not quite alliterated, but near enough. So, point 1, the primary question. What is the most important question that we will ever have to wrestle with in life? The number 1 question or issue to which all other questions and issues are secondary. Well, what we see here when Paul gets to Rome is he calls his fellow Jews, his ethnic people group, and it says, each day, from morning till evening, Paul tried to convince them about Jesus. That's verse 23. The most important fundamental question for any person is this: who is Jesus? Who is Jesus? There is no question more important than that. Some people think Jesus never existed, but there is no academic historical doubt that Jesus of Nazareth walked this planet. Others say he was just a teacher or a prophet. Even to this day, in the Muslim religion, they teach that Jesus was the sinless prophet. But when you actually read the eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life, when you read the words that Jesus said of himself, you realize that Jesus left no room for those perspectives. Jesus, according to Jesus, was God. God on earth, God as one of us, God in flesh and blood, so that that flesh and blood could be sacrificed for our sins on the cross. Jesus was God in human form, the man who would rescue us from our sin. Now, with this, C.S. Lewis, in his book Mere Christianity, is trying to stop people saying, to quote, foolish things about Jesus, like Jesus was just a good moral teacher, but not God. And Lewis writes, a man who said the sort of things that Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic or he would be a liar like a devil of hell. You've got to make your choice, lunatic or liar. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman, or something worse. You can shut him up for a fool, you can spit at him and kill him as a demon, or you can fall at his feet and call him Lord and God. But let's not come up with some patronizing nonsense about him being a great human teacher. He has not left that open to us, and he did not intend to. So the most important question in life is this: who is Jesus? The only satisfactory answer to that, according to the Bible, according to Jesus, is that he is God's Son, our Saviour, and that he is worthy of our worship and our very lives. It's about who Jesus is. Point 2. The primary conversation. I want us to think about the topic of our conversation, how we talk to people and what we talk about with people. Here's Paul. He's under house arrest, his freedom's restricted, he's awaiting trial, which could lead to death, but he's talking about Jesus. And the thing is, some of them were convinced and believed, but others, many of them, were not. But that doesn't seem to surprise Paul. It doesn't seem to put him off. And then in verse 26, there's a quote from the Old Testament that basically says, well, the Jewish people would hear the message of Jesus but not understand it. They would see Jesus but not really see him for who he really was. They would be blind to who Jesus was. And I think many of us in that situation, we would use that as an excuse. What's the point of speaking to people about Jesus because they won't respond? They might reject him. They might reject me. Well, people won't be interested. They don't want to know, so why bother? That does not put Paul off at all. He simply shares the message. He simply speaks of who Jesus is. And I want that to be a challenge to me, to you, to all of us, those of us who know Jesus, to speak of Jesus. Well, what if people are not interested? Speak of Jesus. But what if they've got difficult questions about church and ethics? Speak of Jesus. But what if they say, no, I'm not interested? What if they reject me? Speak of Jesus. I would say one of the biggest problems facing the church in the Western world is that we simply don't speak of Jesus. Jesus is not the primary topic of our conversation. We'll talk about how to make our churches more attractive to people. We'll talk about what people can and can't do to their bodies, their ethics. We'll talk about how to be better people and succeed at life, but we need to focus on actually speaking about Jesus. I read a great book a number of years ago by a guy called Carl Madaris called Speaking of Jesus, The Art of Non-Evangelism. This guy had spent decades living in Muslim countries. And what he'd learnt was that if you talk about Christianity, people are put off. If you talk about church, people are put off. But when we talk about Jesus, people are interested. They're drawn in, they're attracted. There is something compelling, attractive about this person, Jesus. There's this quote that people tend to use in response to what I'm saying, in response to any call to speak about Jesus. They say, well, yes, don't forget St. Francis of Assisi. He said, preach the gospel and if necessary, use words. Preach the gospel, if necessary, use words. It's a call, I suppose, to make sure our actions reveal something of who Jesus is. Well, sort of. I mean, I've got a bit of a problem with that quote, not least because there's no evidence whatsoever that St. Francis of Assisi ever said that. In fact, if you read about his life, everywhere he went, he spoke about Jesus. He used words. He proclaimed the gospel. But actually, whilst actions are vital, in and of themselves, they won't lead anyone into a saving relationship with Jesus. We need words, works, and wonders to effectively proclaim this good news. So point one, the primary question, who is Jesus? He's God, he's King, he loves you. He's the one who can free you from shame and guilt. Point two, the primary conversation is about Jesus. As humans, we talk about what we love, we talk about what we enjoy, what's important to us. So let's talk about Jesus with those around us. And finally, the primary context. In other words, where and when should we speak of Jesus? What is the optimal place for it? Where has God called me to share the message of Jesus? Well, I think the lesson we learn from Paul in this passage in the end of Acts is this. Share about Jesus wherever you are, just where you are. Paul is in prison under house arrest, chained to a guard, and he's still speaking about Jesus. It's not a good place, it's not a good time, but he's doing it anyway. It reminds me a little bit of my nan, the lady who took my mum in when she left home, not a blood relation, I called her nan, a lady called Nell. When she was in her 80s, my mum would take us to the new shopping mall in the city, and mum would go round do the shopping. Me and my brother would wander around the shops, and my nan, Nell, she would be left on her own on a bench, a seat, to wait for us. And time again, we would meet up at the bench at the agreed time, and there would be someone sat next to my nan, often in tears, with my nan praying for them or leading them to the Lord. She just took an opportunity to speak of Jesus to the person next to her. I want us to consider the Apostle Paul here at the end of his life, chained to a guard, awaiting trial, helping people to answer the question of who Jesus really is. Speaking of Jesus, even when he knew people would reject him and the message, and he's doing all of that from a context that we would describe as, well, less than ideal. Why? Why would he do that? Well, Jesus is God. Jesus is King. Jesus loves you. He knows you. He's got a great plan and purpose for your life. He's revealed himself to us. And as we respond to him, he rescues us, he saves us, he cleanses us, he brings us into his family. He is so wonderful. There's no one like him. No one compares to him. And why would we not want to share such good news with everyone we meet?
So, welcome back. Thanks, John. That was for John Harding. That was actually quite a remarkably short talk.
It was extremely succinct. I like that word.
Succinct. It's very.
Amen.
Great talk.
It was a great talk.
Great talk. I think we're just a little bit flabbergasted, John. I'm not going to lie. Maybe he was busy that day. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, welcome back. It's great that you're with us. If you joined us throughout the talk, you are watching Crowd Online Church live stream. My name is Matt. Beside me is the beautiful Claire and her knitting. And
I'm halfway through because I don't think I can talk and knit at the same time. I'm not that clever.
No, but you can talk. You were knitting whilst you were listening to the talk.
I was knitting. Well, I've done about 3 rows. That's as quick as I am. That's why it took my daughter's scarf a year to be knitted.
Wow.
There we go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, it's great to have you back. Great that you joined us. Now, if you've got any questions, any thoughts, write them in the comments because it's Conversation Street. We're going to get into them. And so what's Miriam put here? This is a great talk, John. Yes, absolutely. Andy, often when people talk about Jesus in this country, it's not in a positive way. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree. Well, no, actually, sorry, Andy.
Put this down
sorry,
slightly.
Is that all right?
Yeah, no, it's good.
Okay.
So we can see you. There we go.
Oh, right. Okay. I was hiding.
There we go.
I think I would say that when you get people talking about Jesus, unless you're like a devil worshipper, which I would say the vast majority of people in this country are. In this country, we're talking about the UK.
Yeah.
I think that people, like the C.S. Lewis quote, would, they would say Jesus is a nice person.
Yeah.
So I think that they would be positive about Jesus. Less so maybe about the church, less so maybe about Christians, less so, about other aspects. But but I think it's that challenge, isn't it, that John has given us of, but actually when we really get down to discussing who Jesus is, then I think probably the heckles raise up. And it's like, you're saying that Jesus demands something of me, or is expecting a response from me. Well, then, I'm not sure about him now. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point, isn't it? Because there are people that don't talk about Jesus in a positive light, who I think they're usually associating the negative comments with the church, like you say, the Jesus followers, the Jesus freaks, as we like to call them.
Great song.
Jesus freaks. Again, that's 1990s.
Yeah, we've moved on a decade.
We've moved on from the 80s, which we were talking about earlier, if you're confused. So I think it's interesting that not a lot of people talk about Jesus positively. They're often referring, like you say, to his church, to the believers, for a number of reasons. They can get angry, they can be hypocritical, they can be very judgmental, they can be graceless, they can be greedy. I mean, they commit every single atrocity known to man, but they do it under the guise of being a Christian, right? And so that I think quite rightly causes people to get really knocked off, which is another good phrase. Knocked off. I think that causes people to get angry, and I think I can understand why that is, because I get angry with it. Do you know what I mean? You read about scandal, you read about that kind of stuff, and you just go, this is just so wrong on so many levels. So I think I agree in that sense that actually the church has not done Jesus any favors in its representation of him in a lot of ways. The thing that surprises me in all of this is that knowing that Jesus still chose it anyway.
His way of saving the world.
Yeah. His way.
Yeah. Honestly, honestly, if we'd have had it in our hand, in our gift to do it, we'd have done it completely different.
We would have been like,
Benign
you're not in.
dictatorship,
No.
I think. Just like, come on, get with the program,
Yeah.
sort it out.
Will you please sort it out?
Yeah, I've died for you. Enough already.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? And but I think you're right. It's like it's still his chosen vessel to bring his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Yeah. And so being a part of the church, I say that the church is the hope of the world. I love that phrase, that the church is the hope of the world. But I look at the people in the church and go, oh my goodness. Now I'm not judging other people. I'm counting myself in that. We are broken people in a lot of ways, and we can have faith and we can trust God and we can see mountains move, and we do, and we know God and we understand God, but we are far from perfect in a lot of ways.
And I think the more actually we recognize the sin in our own lives, the greater our understanding of the gospel and Jesus is.
Yeah.
And I think when we make our own sins small, I do it every day. I'm sure do you know what I mean? We don't practice that repentant heart each day, then I think Jesus isn't magnified in that way.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I totally agree with you. And I think that I remember something Ian Marison said to me years ago. You know Ian, don't you? Love Ian.
Love Ian.
A mutual friend of ours going back a long time. And I remember something he said to me. He said, you know what? The closer I get to Christ, the more aware of my own sin I become. And it's a really interesting one, isn't it? So it's not a case of the longer I walk with Christ, the less sinful I become. I think it's the longer I walk with Christ, the more aware of my sin I become.
If we allow it. And I think that was what I was thinking today when we were talking about this, and I was like, oh God, help me to give you time, because actually we do have to stop and listen.
Yeah, we do.
And ask the question, hi, check in with God, rather than just sort of assume that everything is all hunky-dory, and just ask and wait, not rush on, and just give that space.
Yeah.
And is there anything? Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Very true. So this is a long answer to the question. When people talk about Jesus in the country, it's not in a positive way.
Yeah. Chris has written one. Do you think some people believe that Christian faith has been watered down?
I believe that Christian faith has been watered down.
I think I water it down.
It's your fault.
It's not my fault.
Will you just stop it?
Trying. I chose Ribena instead of water. No, that's a digression.
It is a digression. So why do you think it's been watered down? Let's maybe start there.
Because I think we're fearful. We're fearful that we'll be rejected, that we'll be persecuted, and people are persecuted around the world.
Do you mean Christians, as in Christians don't want to stand up for their faith as much because of the backlash? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, cool.
I think, And then I guess it's that thing of being diluted when you mix as well, isn't it? That actually when you don't spend time with other believers, when you don't spend time reading the Word of God in God's presence, that you become less like Him. And I think I was just when you listen, it's a bit warm in here actually, but when you listen to a really good talk like we've just listened to with John, I can feel, I don't know about you, but I feel myself getting all excited, and and I feel a little bit like Moses, a tiny little bit like Moses, like what is it? We all with unveiled faces will reveal.
Yeah.
And and when we don't do that, we don't listen to the Word of God, we don't talk about our faith with other people, you know, as much with people who don't know Jesus yet, because I think that that's as faith building as, you know, to answer their questions legitimately and genuinely, then we don't experience that nearness of him.
Yeah, it's a powerful point, isn't it? And I've funnily enough, I've been thinking a lot about this week, because interestingly, I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about how one of the things that we've managed to do in the West, which hasn't helped us, is we've connected church with a building rather than the people group. And so we talk about going to church rather than being part of a church. And so when we go to church, we then get to a point where actually church, we take it or leave it, right? And then it becomes about consumerism. So then it becomes about, well, I don't like the worship, so I'm not going anymore. Or I don't like this, so I'm not going anymore. And so it becomes about what I get out of church rather than seeing the church, which is the body of Christ, right?
And family.
And that whole sense of community and understanding, actually, if I don't get involved with church, not the church, the building, but if I don't get involved with church, the whole body suffers. Yeah. So, and Paul uses this great analogy, doesn't he? And it's like, in essence, he's saying, well, just your foot can't be bothered to get out of bed today. It's not going to bode well if I want to go off and do something. Do you know what I mean? Or it kind of... So I think by connecting church with a building rather than understanding that we are the church, we've watered faith down. And I think and again, I'm moaning about the Western church, because that's the church that I'm part of, and I feel like I can talk about it. But we've also taken Christianity to a point where we just say, what you have to do is get to a place where you say this prayer, and then you're a Crisbo, right? You're in. Well done.
Part of the club.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but
a very individual thing as well.
Yeah, and it's a one-time event. Like I'm buying a house, I just sign the mortgage, and then it doesn't matter what. And it's not like that really. Jesus never said, "Come be a Christian," but when you read the Gospels, Jesus said, "Follow me." That's a lifestyle. Yeah. That's a life thing, right? And so I think with a mixture of those two things,
not even make Christians, but make disciples, isn't it? You know, it is.
And the word disciple is an interesting word, isn't it? And what that actually means. And I think it's what's the new book? Following the Way, Practicing the Way. John Mark Comer, who did the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. All about Sabbath.
I thought he was the hurry one.
He's the hurry one. Don't the opposite of hurry.
No, I know. There's a Phil Collins song.
There is. I was just thinking that. You can hurry love. And so back to the 80s again. But he's written this book called Practicing the Way, and interesting how similar sort of phraseology is coming out of that. It's like actually the word disciple means the word apprentice, to be apprenticed by Jesus. That's a lifestyle thing. You go and sit under him, you be with him, you become like him, and you do the things that he does. And I think because in the West we've got so busy, churches are building in a program, and because becoming a Christian is, a one-time event, that then I think waters down the faith of the actual believers themselves. They become weak, they become sickly. Which then leads to this whole thing about Christians not being seen in a positive light. I think the Christians that have a strong, close walk with God, they might have a theology which is different to yours, or they might have an opinion about certain, certainly a lot of cultural things. They'll have an opinion about them, but most of the time you go, well, I don't necessarily agree with you, but I want to be around you. Right?
It's attractive, isn't it?
It's attractive. Yeah. The Christians that are kind of half-hearted, half in, half out, can't make their mind up one way or the other, they're the ones that people really struggle to be around, because they're the ones which are angry and bitter. They're the ones making all kinds of weird and wonderful statements that just, aren't loving, aren't kind. They're the ones that often get included, that's why you would often use the word intolerance when talking about some of the Christian beliefs. And so, I've just gone off on one now. Sorry, Chris. Hope that answers your question. Do I think some people believe that Christian faith has been watered down? Yes, I think we've not helped ourselves.
But I guess we are called to be salt and light, aren't we?
Yes.
And so, oh gosh, this is a really old one. Do you know this old Christian song? Who'll be the salt if the salt loses its flavour?
Yes, I do. And I'm not going to sing it.
There we go.
because
But
I don't wanna-
it's a good one, you know. And so we are that
Yeah.
saltiness.
And that actually is all about being distinctive. Salt is not, do you know what I mean? Salt is distinctive, it's flavoursome. And I think when Christians just try to blend into the background, I think we have a problem. And I think, do you remember the movie Karate Kid? 80s reference, 80s movie reference.
Not my cup of tea.
Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, he says to Daniel-san in the movie, when you walk along the road, walk left side, safe. Walk right side, safe. Walk middle of the road, squish, just like grape. And what it's a great reference, by the way. What he's talking about is this, do one thing or the other, be in, be out. And if you're in, do it properly. But where you try and walk this middle line, where you can, you're not giving everything over to God, or do you know what I mean? There's things which you're trying to hold back on, where you're just like, well, I'll do that bit of Christianity over there, and I'll do this bit of what I want to do over here. And it's not living a life of, it's an unpopular word, it's not living a life of surrender. It's living a life of doing what I want to do. That is what Mr. Miyagi talks about, squish. Walking in the middle of the road.
But I think surrender is a really good word, isn't it? And actually, I don't think anyone can argue with you personally surrendering your life to God.
Yeah.
And I think, it does come down to those choices that we make each day, doesn't it? That daily choice to pick up our cross and surrender.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree. Jenny, you're the second person to mention that book to me today.
Shall I be the third?
Yeah, do it. Go for it. Do it.
I can't remember the title. The guy Coma, isn't it? Not,
John Mott Comer.
Not Girlfriend in a Coma, which is another 90s, 80s Smith song. I don't know. Anyway, Jenny, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think you should read it. It sounds like a good one.
Have you not read The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry?
Confession.
No.
No.
Okay. You're too busy.
I just don't read Christian books.
Oh, controversial. Controversial.
Sack me. If I could get out of the door, he'd have thrown me down. I'm locked.
Hey, I don't mind you not reading Christian books as long as you read my one when I write it.
Are you writing one?
I'm trying to write one at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
It's taken me 3 years so far, and I'm about halfway through it.
But I think that's the general way for writing a book, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Good.
Or maybe we're not talking about The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. There's the other one that you do, which has just come out, called Practicing the Way.
That's the one that you're talking about. Is Jenny, which one are you talking about? The Ruthless Hurry one or the way one? I don't know. Jesus, he's the way, the truth, and the life. Let's stick to the main menu.
Let's stick to that. Yeah, absolutely. Miriam, sometimes when I talk to people, I don't know what to expect, but all I can do is trust God to give me the right words to say back.
Yeah.
Do you find that's the truth?
Yeah. There's a great verse, isn't there? I don't know where it's from. Somewhere in the Bible. It basically says, I think it's either a Psalm or Isaiah or something like that. Old Testament. Open your mouth and I will fill it.
Yeah.
And I use that for kind of those sorts of conversations where I don't know what to say, or I'm meeting somebody and I'm asked something and I'm put on the spot and I'm just like, oh, Jesus, God, help me.
Yeah.
Put your words in my mouth.
There's also a scripture in the New Testament about it.
I suspect there's a few. It's probably a theme.
Don't worry about what you shall say. That's what the Holy Spirit does. He helps us, give us the right words. It was actually bizarrely in the context of courtrooms, when someone takes you to court for your faith and not knowing what to say.
There's another scripture that I'd written down here that I've not got a quote for. But it's be prepared in season and out of season to share.
Paul said that, didn't he?
I would say that was Paul.
Yes, it's very, very Paulinian.
Pauline.
Pauline.
I think is actually the word that you were searching for.
No, I like Paulinian. I'm just making words up. That's what we do. It's a Christian thing. It was Practicing the Way, according to Jenny. So check out that book. It's a really interesting book. I'm about halfway through it. I've been enjoying it. I've listened to a few of his podcasts now where he talks about it. and really powerful stuff. And actually going forward with Crowd, some of the stuff he's talked about, I'm like, this is great, because there were some of the ideas and thoughts we have going forward with Crowd, and he's put some language to some stuff which has been super helpful. So we are going to be getting into that. Matt says,
it's how we live, isn't it, as a community together, how we are on this journey together, how we can encourage each other, how we can exhort each other and challenge each other, you know, in love.
Yeah.
You know, because it's hard, isn't it? It's a narrow way. It's not a straight way. Or it is a straight way, but it's a narrow.
It's narrow. It's narrow but straight. It's interesting because you're right. I don't think being a Christian is easy, and I don't think it's not like every morning when I sit and read my Bible, sometimes it's awesome, you know, and you're just like, oh, thank you, Jesus. And then other times you just feel like you're pulling teeth a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like you're just going through the motions in some respects, and there are times where you feel God's telling you to do something, but you want to do entirely the opposite. You're like, no, get somebody else. I don't want to do it. But again, it comes back to that surrender aspect, doesn't it? And surrender is never straightforward. It's never easy. And living in that surrendered life. I mean, just get married. Do you know what I mean? Marriage will show you that surrender thing is not straightforward. Yeah. Have we had many tech issues today? No, not a single one.
No, apart from you not turning the mic on earlier, but that was a.
Oh yeah, that was pre-live stream. That was simple fix.
On-off button. If in doubt, turn it off. Turn it on.
So Claire's microphone wasn't working. We're like, why is that not working? And it's like, I've not done. That needs to turn on. Okay. Simple things, but this is why we have, the sort of the 10 minutes beforehand. What else is in your notes?
I mean, that art of non-evangelism book sounded good that John was talking about.
Yeah.
When I say that, I don't read books. I thought, I could be tempted by that one.
If you ever wonder what to buy Claire for Christmas, you know not what to buy Claire for Christmas. You might not know what to buy, but what not to buy is now quite clear. Anything that's Christian other than the Bible. Is this a deliberate thing? Is this just you never really got into Christian books?
No, I think it. Maybe I shouldn't say it. I just think that we aren't very succinct as a Western church. So my take has been that the ones that I've read, they could have just written it in a chapter.
Oh, you think they're waffly?
A bit waffly.
Yeah.
And
no, I get that.
And that's not true for all. And I have read some brilliant Christian books. But I think I prefer a novel, which is awful. Sorry.
You're just seeing Claire come under conviction on the live stream.
So sorry. Do what I say, not what I do. No, that's not true.
It's Dave sat at home going, thank you, Jesus, finally.
Who's Dave?
No.
My husband's called John. Is that what you were talking about?
I don't know why I said Dave.
I think you were
Maybe I was thinking about Dave Conley.
Yeah, Dave Conley.
Maybe Dave Conley's sitting
Dave Conley's going... I've known Claire for like 30 years. Finally, she's experiencing some conviction of the Holy Spirit. Good to do it publicly.
Yeah, well, apparently Andy says there's a lot of good Christian stuff in podcasts.
You are so right, Andy. It's true. It's true.
I have to be honest, I do prefer a good podcast where people sit and chat about it.
Do you?
Yeah, so like take John Mark Comer's new book, Practicing the Way. I've read the book's great. I made lots of notes on it. But I much prefer sitting and listening to him talk to somebody about it. What are you laughing at?
Sorry, Matt's little comment about sending me 1,000 balls of wool, I think.
For Christmas, okay.
Sorry, I was just distracted. No, please don't. I'm not that quick. I'll be drowning in wool.
Drowning in wool.
Sorry, we digressed because of me. I'm so sorry.
That's all right. I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh, podcasts. What podcast would you recommend, Andy? Jenny says. So write your podcast recommendations. In fact, let's just do that. In the comments, write down your favourite Christian book and your favourite Christian podcast. We'd be very interested.
I think that would be a really useful thing. I mean, today we were talking about what's the story? It's a good start. That's nice. You can
love Andy.
Andy.
Yeah, you should come host.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What's the story, by the way, that Andy's put in the comments? Is a Crowd Church podcast.
Dum, dum, dum.
And so do check it out, what's the story podcast.com. I love the plug there. We've just released the episode with Tom Grant. Have you heard that one? You don't do podcasts either, do you?
I'm just I'm proper 20th century, 19th century if I can get away with it. Pen, paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the story is one
I do know what it is.
Yeah. It's where we sit down and we just talk to people about their story, their Christian story. You know, the three key things we want to know. How did people become a Christian? What's the biggest challenge they faced in life that God's helped them overcome? And what's their sort of one thing, their one message that God's taught them throughout all of this? You've not been on yet, have you?
I know. You have asked me a few times and I've just not got round to replying. I will one day. I'm not very speedy.
Not very speedy. Wowzers. Well, we've just done an episode with Tom Grant, who he is a Baptist minister that works as part of the Eden Project up over in Netherton.
Okay, I saw that. Yes.
And so him and his wife moved up from the south. Felt God. Yeah. It's really interesting because most people want to go to a nicer house when they move. They want to go to a nicer estate. There's this sort of idea of promotion. I want something bigger. I want something better. Tom, Emma, no, totally the opposite way. I'm from down south to an estate in Netherton.
Pretty rough, I imagine.
Pretty rough. They've been there 10 years and God's done some insanely cool things and they have this great church.
Yeah.
And just listening to Tom's story about some of the stuff that is going on is fantastic. So do check it out. What's the story podcast.com.
Yeah. Is there merch?
Crowd Church merch.
I was asked whether I wanted a merch and I said yes, but I've not had it yet.
Well, I've not sorted it out yet. Sadaf was asking me about this the other day. So I do have a Crowd Church hoodie. They are not for sale as of yet, but they will be for sale soon. We're going to have a little Crowd Church merch store. They won't be merch. It's not like we're going to make any profit out of them, but people do ask me for them. Yeah. Can I get a Crowd hoodie? I'm like, it's for a church. And they're like, yeah, they just look really cool. I'm like, knock yourself out, son. I'll send you the link when they're up and running.
My husband continues to wear welcoming T-shirts that have been rebranded from our church during the day. He just wears them for work. And
yeah, why not?
It's great.
Why not? Waste not, want not, right? Yeah. Church merch.
Yeah.
So, yes, there will be available at some point. There is no doubt about it. Alan Finnegan needs prayer. Yeah, actually, for those of you that know Alan Finnegan, he's the guy that pastors a church with Tom Grant, and he does need prayer. He's been diagnosed with quite a severe illness, and without a miracle, things are not looking good for Alan. So do pray for him and pray for his family. Praying that God does some good stuff for him. So yes, hopefully that's answered all the questions. Well, I just want to go back to what John was talking about.
Go on.
Bringing it back. Some sense of control. One of the things was interesting was he read that quote, which was ascribed to, was it Assisi? Francis Assisi.
Yes.
And he said, I've got a few issues with this, mainly because there's no actual evidence that Assisi said that quote.
I'd never even thought about it, but it's really true.
Yeah. Now, this I thought was interesting because I was thinking about this earlier as well. This whole concept is a very popular phrase at the moment, critical thinking. We like critical thinking, which is where we don't assume knowledge or about something just because somebody has said something about that. Yeah. So the example that I saw was to do with J.K. Rowling, who is obviously slightly controversial at the moment because of a perception of how she views transgender issues.
Yeah.
Right. And so she has been called transphobic. And I was watching a conversation where I think it was a teacher said to a student, what do you think about J.K. Rowling? He said, well, she's not doing very well at the moment. She's transphobic and people aren't a big fan. And so the teacher said to him, well, where did you get that idea from? And so, well, he said, it's just common opinion. And it's like, yeah, but have you actually gone and figured it out for yourself? Have you read what she said? And it's like, no. So he's like, well, why don't you read what she says? And so he pulls up some tweets where he reads what she has said, and it's the complete opposite of what he believed. So this whole concept of critical thinking, I think, is really interesting. This whole idea of just not accepting something because we've been told it, or because that's what the general public believe, but actually fact-checking things ourselves and thinking through things critically to say, this is what that means, this is what that means, and so on and so forth, and having some kind of opinion.
But I think that generally goes against, I can hear myself a bit more there. That's a bit weird, a bit echoey. I think I would put my hand up, lazy. I'm lazy. And so actually, if I have to go away and do my own research,
check everything
and check it, it's easier to absorb that common opinion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it demands something of us.
Yeah.
But what I love about the Bible and Jesus is that they do stand up to that critical thinking, that, and that when you poke, that's what Jesus said. And, when you people might say, oh, Jesus was, he taught about good morals or whatever. Well, actually, but he also talked about this, and he talked about this, and he talked about this, and he said that about himself. It's like, oh yeah, but it's fab, isn't it? I love the fact that God can cope with our questions.
Yeah, absolutely. No, totally right. And I think it's again, it comes down to what, you wrote C.S. Lewis on your notes, didn't you? So C.S. Lewis, when he says, no, Jesus is either the Son of God, he's a lunatic, or he's a liar. And he can't be just a good guy, because again, this comes down to critical thinking. So a lot of people have just gone, well, Jesus, he was around, he said some cool stuff. Church is a bit weird. I don't see why what he said 2,000 years ago should really impact me today. But there's no critical thinking done around Jesus. It's just kind of an acceptance. Or the other one that I hear a lot of, well, science has disproved religion. And so you kind of go, well, has it really? Let's just prod that a little bit. Because if that was true, you'll have heard me say this before on Crowd, there would be no such thing as a Christian who is involved in science.
Not a Christian scientist.
Yeah, saw what I did there.
I saw the mental leap.
There are definitely Christian scientists. They're not the kind of people I'm talking about. But there would be people who aren't who you couldn't be a scientist and be a Christian if that was true, right? You just
I've got an honours degree in science. Who knew?
Have you?
Yeah, 2-2.
Oh, well done. In what? What was the science?
It was countryside management. It wasn't. It wasn't a proper science degree. It wasn't very academically rigorous, in fairness, and they sacked it off about a few years later. It was a brilliant degree. I loved it. It was basically how to be a park ranger. It was fab. I loved it.
That sounds amazing.
It had ecology in it, so that's science.
Yeah.
It had biology.
So it's a BSc.
Science. It was a BSc. I was shocked that I had a BSc.
You see, I'm always shocked when I say to people I've got a BA.
Yeah, shocked.
Because I'm not an artsy person.
No, weird, isn't it?
We should probably swap. Yeah, my Bachelor of
We're
Arts.
more rounded as a result of the fact that
We are,
you've got an arts
absolutely.
degree and I've got a science degree.
Absolutely. But yeah, you can't, the critical thinking where Jesus is concerned, you have to push on this stuff. So you can't say, and this is where C.S. Lewis was right when he said, because of the claims Christ made, you cannot say he was a moral teacher. Because if he was just a moral teacher, someone who was moral would not say the things that he said. It's a circular argument, isn't it? And so it becomes self-refuting if you follow it through. So if you're moral, you can't make the claims that he did, because if he's not the Son of God, they were claims of either a lunatic or a liar. Well, lunatics and liars don't make good moral people. Do you know what I mean?
Or just downright evil,
Yeah, being malicious, very deceptive, etc., etc. So, yeah, just pushing through a little bit is a really interesting idea. So, this idea of critical thinking, this idea of Francis Assisi not saying certain things. Matt's put in the comments, fake news is a horrendous part of modern day life. And the problem you've got, I think, with social media is once you start, Facebook's listening now, isn't it? It's like, goodness knows what's going to come up on my Instagram stream. But as soon as you start reading something that is slightly geared, say, more liberal or slightly more conservative, it starts feeding you more and more of that. And so actually you then start, it takes you down this road and you miss out all the other stuff from over here. And I think it's super dangerous. And I think it's so powerful in the modern world, this belief that actually what's on social media is correct. Wow, it's dangerous.
That's why you need real people.
Real people who
like
knit.
us.
Who will come and listen to you ramble on and sit and knit while she does it.
The joys.
The joys. Right. I think we'll end conversation. I enjoyed that. That was good.
It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good little natter.
Yeah, it was great.
Did we get through all your notes?
I didn't make many, as you can see. About
Three or four lines.
Yeah, but no, it's great. And you know, just that accountability, isn't it? Of talking. And you do a midweek one, although Matt has said.
I've got to remind you about the Zoom.
Zoom, you know, none this week, but just that thing of talking to people about, well, actually, what am I talking about? Thinking about what our conversation is.
Yeah.
And how, you know, how we are influencers, aren't we? I always remember somebody talking about being a thermometer or a thermostat, you know, in your relationships. You know, am I a thermometer that I just test the temperature? Or am I a thermostat that changes the temperature? That stayed with me. It's a good little analogy. I want to be somebody who does talk about Jesus, who does alter, you know, if people are gossiping, that I, you know, divert the conversation away.
Yeah, no, totally. We really need to do a What's the Story episode, because you went to foreign lands to do this.
I did.
You went like proper full-on missionary.
Yeah, but I wasn't allowed to be. I wasn't allowed to be. It was a secret place.
It was a secret place with a secret title.
Secret.
With a secret name. Shh. She was a missionary. But yes, normally now, talking about community, normally during the week, we have midweek Zoom groups. You'll be more than welcome to join them. Great to see you in there. We don't have one this week because it's half term, apparently.
Yeah, we're going to Cambridge.
Very posh.
Posh.
Very posh. Yes, very posh. So we don't have groups this week, but if you'd like to join us next week, you are more than welcome. Just reach out to us through the website or through social media, www.crowd.church or at Crowd Church, and we'll let you know and we'll send you all the details, which would be great to see you in there. Hooray! Acts is done. Yes. We have finally made it through Acts. So next week.
But actually, Acts isn't done because Matt and all of us, it continues, doesn't it? Because it's not the Acts of the Apostles, it's the Acts of the Holy Spirit.
You're being profound now, aren't you?
Just trying.
Yeah.
That's what you pay me for, isn't it? A bit of profundity.
It is. You're worth every penny.
every hot Ribena.
Every hot Ribena. Yes. No. It's. You're very true. Yes. It's just the beginning.
We've only just begun. That's the 70s. Actually,
it is. You've gone back too far now.
I've lost you all.
Should be dancing. Yeah. So Acts is done. Next week, we are starting a brand new teaching series called Becoming Whole. So we're going to talk about what does it mean to be whole as a person, to be complete. You know, those kind of phrases. What does wholeness look like as people? Is it something that we as Christians can achieve on earth before we get to heaven? Yes or no? And if yes, well, we're obviously going to say it's at least some kind of yes, because we've got months and months teaching you how to do it.
Are you doing a lot of this?
Oh, there's a lot. There, we're going deep.
There's another song.
I want to go deeper. Is that what you're heading ahead?
That is, totally. We know each other too well. We've been in the same, an echo chamber.
Yeah. And so everyone's watching this going, what is in that Ribena you've been drinking? So we're going to go deep diving into what wholeness means. We'll take the odd break like Easter. We'll do something different on Easter. But yeah, we're getting into wholeness. And so next week, I'm going to be explaining all about the series, what's coming up, the kind of things that's going to get involved with it, the kind of topics we're going to be talking about. I mean, we are going to go deep. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Sounds good.
Which leads me actually to remind me to say to you, if you don't use the U version of the Bible on your phone, it's an app. It's a free Bible app, U version. Download it onto your phone and connect with Crowd Church on U version on your phone, because we're going to start putting some of the scriptures and stuff out. Hopefully through U version. There's going to be some daily readings and stuff in there as well. We're not going to have it sorted out for next week, but we're slowly going to be building that into the series, so you can follow along during the week as well with what's going on through the U version Bible app. Just go on there, search Crowd Church, connect with us, on that app. It'd be great to see you in that. It's a phenomenal app, by the way.
I don't use that app actually. So yes, I will. If I could reach my phone, it's hiding under the desk. I will download it. I've got a posh phone now. I can do that.
Yeah, now you got a push phone. Now you can download things. Smartphones.
21st century.
You don't have to press a number 4 times when you send in text just to get the little D up. No, but that's yes, that does sound good, Jenny. It is a great app. You are right. So the U version is a free app. The Bible version is a free app. Do go on there, register, and just connect with us on Crowd. It'd be great to see you in there. We are loving that at the moment. Can highly recommend it. There's some great stuff on it as well. And actually, until last week, I used a different app, and still use it actually because I know how it works. I used the Olive Tree app, which was great, but with the U version of the Bible app, there's so many cool things that we can do with it. Life Church has done some amazing stuff with that app. So it is free, no hassle. Do take it. Do come join us on there. Anything else from you?
No. So long and
farewell.
Thanks for all the fish.
Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
I was going for actually. Yeah, you need to quit while you're ahead.
Before we get into some major song issues going on. Hey, listen, it has been an absolute treat and a real pleasure to be with you today at Crowd. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you got some good stuff out of it. I've enjoyed the conversation. You're an absolute legend. Enjoyed watching in it as well.
It's been lovely.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for stepping into the breach. Because this is not Ellie, by the way, which was put out on social media. Ellie had to drop out and you stepped into the breach, which is great.
It was lovely.
Really enjoyed the conversation. Hope you enjoyed it as well. It's been great to be with you. Have a great week, everybody. Matt says, please don't sing. Just hold it. That's it from me. That's it from Claire. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic week. God bless you. Bye for now.
Ta-ra.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Crowd Church. Now, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as that little tiny bell notification to get notified the next time we are live. And of course, if you are listening to the podcast, the live stream podcast, make sure you also hit the follow button. Now, by smashing the like button on YouTube or writing a review on your podcast platform, it helps us reach more people with the message that Jesus really does help us live a more meaningful and purposeful life. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out our website www.crowd.church, where you can learn more about us as a church, more about the Christian faith, and also how to connect into our church community. It has been awesome to connect with you, and you are awesome. It's just a burden you have to bear, and hopefully we'll see you next time. That's it from us. God bless you.